Well, yeah, we're here. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah. Overdue. Overdue.
Super overdue.
Yeah, overdue.
But things all work out. Like, I wanted to close down my sweet treatments and focus just on Vallejo, and I have not been able to do that. I'm still running both. I'm still doing my regular, which obviously is why I'm exhausted. And I still want to help Vallejo, do everything Vallejo, right?
Yeah.
So I became the city event planner, which
Yeah.
was a big deal. And they were like, hey, can you do a kite festival, Earth Day, winged migration, and a light up, we're going to light up downtown. We're going to do a lot of like projection mapping and lighting downtown. So these type of events aren't what I thought I was getting
What
into,
about stuff for us?
It's really like, it's different. It's like, okay, I guess it's family or young kids, like Earth Day, tell them about. So yeah, those are my 4, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
I feel like
I want to do more.
I feel like that doesn't really cater to the city of Vallejo that I grew up in. I've never been to a kite fest or Earth Day in my life, and I've never had the desire to do so. But I feel like those are the things they do. It's like painting the Capitol stairs with money instead of like doing something that the community truly benefits from. It's always like this, like fictitious, like, let's do this, but let's not do it. And it's like, no, let's do something that the city talks about. Like downtown show was like shit that they've been talking about since, it's like, let's do things that people are going to be excited and talk about. Which I'm not saying the Kite Fest won't be that, but it's like, it's a lot harder to build that morale behind kites versus like giving people, like I was telling them, a treat. Like we have to give the city treats, like things that we're like, wow, we got that for what? That incentivizes us to be better and be a better community so we can get more things like that.
I think San Francisco is a good example of doing it right. They've been all summer doing a bunch of free shows all over San Francisco. They're pulling in artists that have draw that people are excited about, both like regional and local acts, and the turnout is insane, right? And then it creates more awareness about these different communities. It's helps economically, brings more positive PR to those areas. So like doing more stuff like that, that was my pitch to Vallejo Main Street to bring you. And I was like, the things we're doing, exactly what you just said. I said, the things we're doing don't reflect people here. Like, same thing, right? Except I love me some like, hippie Earth Day shit. I went to it, but that was not necessarily something that like, it just happened to be there, right? And I went to it and I was like, this is really cool. But there needs to be more that speaks to like where the interests are. The whole thing about like meet people where they are.
Yes.
I feel like that's kind of what's missing right now.
Cultural advising.
And there's a lot of like, we've got a few genres very heavily covered, but then it's interesting because the history of Vallejo, the genres and the big artists that have come out of here are not what we see represented in the community events. And that's where I see a big disconnect, right? It's like, we know our history here. Like, why aren't we leaning into who we are, what we're known for, and like the talent this place pumps out? This itty bitty city.
Yeah.
Look at all these people coming out of here. You know what's not represented every time there's a big event? People that put us on the map, music.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're known for cover bands. That's
what
I think.
Yeah.
When I see all these shows they have at Vino, Godfather, and Empress, and they're all the same.
I mean, our legacy in general does not participate in home events, but it's because it has to be built. Like us doing that downtown show builds it up to where Cece texts me and it's like, that shit was crazy. You feel me? But prior to that, there was nothing happening for them to even feel like they have to come home. I'm on a big campaign to get Gabby home and 40 back here. Yeah. But it starts with us doing stuff like that. If we're not doing that, it doesn't make anyone be like, man, I gotta go. Like I'm putting pressure on them to make them feel like they have to come back home, because that's going to be huge. Exactly.
But we gotta build it up for them.
Yeah, and that build up is only a couple events. It's only a couple really great events, and it's like, he's gonna do it. I've been talking to 40 consistently about this, and it's right here. We just need a couple events to prove that no, this is a possibility, because it didn't used to be, and that's what gives all of them that feeling of like, I don't know, you know. So once we do it a couple times and it's like, look, I did it 3 times. Come on now, you know.
Yep.
I agree. How many people will be able to fit in the fairgrounds building?
We're doing 2,500 for this first one, but it's 5,000 back there.
Oh.
So the arena side is 5,000. McCormick Hall could do 3,500. Expo Hall could do 3,500. I think those are the main big buildings. But yeah, we could do 5,000 in the arena. So we're just doing half this first one to test it and see how it goes and the flow, and really testing out the fairgrounds staff and people. Like I just told him this morning, like, you guys have to explain why this is what it is and why we haven't been able to do this and why you're charging this. And it's like, you're going to go out of business doing business the way you've been doing it. So we're really trying to test and see if we like this relationship or not. And if we don't, we're going to pull our resource from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Teach people how to treat you.
Yeah. Teach people how to treat people.
Period. Yeah. Truth.
But yeah, I wanna do just more events. We just need more. I really think entertainment is a second, and field days. We've been talking about a GC field day where we could just get all the kids out, a skate day, just things like that that I'm willing to spearhead and market and be face of. We just need the infrastructure and resource to be able to do it. You know, the same way that they get to do kite. I guess for every one that we give them, so if they want a kite fest, at least let us go do something too, you know, on this side. So at least we get both. So it's like, you can go to Earth Day and then we'll do one over here that makes sense for us too. So we could, you know, at least level that field out so there's something for everyone.
And I think it'll be important, like, based on what you said, Jackie, to make sure that we make it clear to the city, like, assuming we're going to the city and being like, you should help fund this, because
well, they can. I mean,
they give a lot of money to Vallejo Main Street. So being able to show, write it properly, talk about how it is a community event. We're hitting all of the angles. We've got the kids taken care of.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's a family thing. Because, like, there's this misconception, right? And we broke a lot of that at the downtown show.
Oh, you broke it.
Especially in the city. Like, in the little...
We showed the sheriffs, we showed the fire, we showed the EMS, we showed everybody was possible.
And that was with no infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a ticketing thing. It was just literally like, come on down. Shit happened. Yep. So, like, you know, going into somewhere like Merritt Island or the fairgrounds where there is infrastructure, there is ticketing, all the things are there. They've got their shit already figured out.
Yep.
It's still a lot of work. It's still a lot of organization, but a lot of that infrastructure is like, you know, we were doing it out on the street. It was literally like, you have to close down the street. People don't want to move their car. You got to talk to all these people. You got to get this county. You got to get the city. You got blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of red tape. So doing something at the fairground, it takes a lot of that out. But yeah, doing something where you just say, hey, and like, especially grants, we can look into grants too, because there's a lot of grants that are specifically for enriching historically underprivileged and under-resourced communities. So that's also an avenue we can take in terms of like how we tell the story and how we make sure everybody understands like this is an event for everybody, and it's an event, like to your point, that fits the culture that is here. And I think that would be a good way to start getting the city interested in, hey, well, maybe you should ask for a grant from the city, right? Like maybe like we'll happily give you that.
Okay.
So just
That sounds like a lovely idea.
so I might need you guys to move out.
I can move. I'm movable. That's what's great about.
I'm assuming I need to move, but you're probably fine.
Yeah.
I super agree with you. Yeah, and
I
you
just need to
know.
move the
Oh, the table
the whole
too?
table?
Oh, dang, okay.
you need to go to the right a little bit.
Okay.
This one should be fine. This one's the one that I might get in the way a little bit.
Don't worry. I'm sure we're going to appreciate it in about 5 minutes. Watch your face, Dave.
Watch out for the drinks, please, in the middle.
Oh, those ones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that because I've been bummed out when she said, "Here's your list of events." But I have her ear, man. She's my friend now. We've been bonding. At first, when you were gonna do, they were gonna try and get you last year at Main Street. The city was like, "Oh hell no."
They have reached out and
they're like, "Oh my god!" So they're on your side now, and I've been her here. I like what she's saying. Get them to pay for some of the infrastructure you may need on Mare Island because it doesn't come with all that.
Mhm.
Well, thank you.
And that's why I'm like, like with fairgrounds, we're doing it out our own pocket and just showing that we don't need the city to do these things. We would like your support. It would look very good for you if you were helping someone from the city do something positive.
Yeah.
You know, so I think just having these examples of what we can do without is going to show that. But it's been feeling like the city has been behind it now, you know. And I know last year, I remember Kevin reached out and he said someone's concern was like, there's going to be weed smoke and this, you know, a lot of just negativity. And it was like, shit that doesn't really matter. That doesn't have prevalence for the impact that it's going to have, you know. So I'm excited to see how that turns this year, especially, you know, out of the parade.
He's Sherry Pruitt has invited him to be the Grand Marshal for the Mad Hatter.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, the light.
Oh,
light.
dude, that's fun. And you know, it's
have
kind
a better
of
tree light.
well. If Frank is the event planner for that, and it is kind of a rinse and repeat over and over again. It'd be nice to have some fresh. You know,
if we gonna be involved, it's gonna
freshen up.
Yeah.
A bit. I really, really love that.
It was sad last year because I went to it and then I looked over and I looked at Mare Islands and I was like, you can tell it's a Christmas tree.
Oh, the way, you know, they hand the lights over to Public Works and the guys from Public Works put them up. So, yeah, getting involved in that, I don't know how to make our tree better. But what I did dig is they got this earth. They brought in that big ship that blows up. So it was a big stage and it was a ship and it looked really cool and
But it was in
like
front
an
of the
art
tree.
car.
And then
I know
you
the
couldn't see
placement and
the
everything.
tree.
Trust me, I know because I volunteered to help Frank. I was like, "How do you do all this, Frank? Let me help you out. What can I do?" He goes, "Well, sit by here all day." So I sat right there by that tree and watched as it all, and it just all happens. The nice thing about his event, because it is rinse and repeat, there's no need for any management. There's no need for anything. It just all happens, and that's kind of what is good and bad about that. You know, is there's no like improvement. You know, people are so afraid of change, especially this older group that just they don't like change. And it's like, it's not the way it used to be. Well, it can't stay that way, and we want fresh.
That's the point.
And the youth, you know, one thing I guess I'll say is our I love what you said about. I think I read recently is that people don't have downtowns anymore that are retail shopping. Everybody shops online.
Yep.
We want the living room look. We want to go hang out.
Yes.
We're gonna go hang out somewhere.
Yes.
We're gonna have our coffee, chill out in a living room environment. And I was like, oh my God, I make living rooms for a living for musicians. That's my job. My building is a big fat living room.
And if you
I'm like,
cultivate
how could
really
we
cool
do
WeWork
this?
spaces, like where
Yes.
people could just go edit and people could
Outdoor
go
with
hang
grass.
and
Yes.
turf and just
The
feel
sea container,
good.
You know,
Have,
San
like, a
Francisco
production.
uses the sea containers. They
Yeah.
rebuilt. So one could be a music studio, one could be, you know, tattoo. I don't know, whatever. Just these different things. Even fixing your bicycle, like just all kinds of different things. San Francisco's done with sea containers. I've bought 11 of them already, just waiting to build my little sea container city. So when I look at like Vallejo, I'm like, where can this be? You know, the lot right next to me would be killer because it's 12 acres of open land. It used to be that old Kmart.
Yeah,
I was like, dang, we could make a huge thing right here. But it's that guy who owns it's not easy. It's tough doing business in Vallejo. I mean, it is. You're up against all this weird shit trying to do something cool.
It's like they don't want to see it improve.
And we just gotta like
It's like, I don't
steamroll in.
understand.
It's
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I want it to stay the same, even though nothing's happening.
Oh, well, the little,
well, that's because for years they've been threatened by the culture, and that's why I feel like downtown opened a big hole because it was immersive, and it was like, oh, well, this isn't what I thought was going to take place, you know. And like I say, that's a gradual change. You have to do that event by event to kind of unwork all of that fear and all of that. I don't want it to change because we're not getting rid of no one. We're just embracing everyone.
Create new memories that create like a new understanding of what it is, right? That's just like psychology 101, right? You're anxious and scared. You have to create new memories around that thing. To
Man,
understand that it's not like you think it is.
our next generation deserves to have Vallejo pride too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We need
exactly.
a Vallejo store. We went to Pittsburgh while we were on tour, and they have this huge store that's like a city store. It just got all the teams and merch. And, you know, since we don't have teams, just having Vallejo merchandise, which we've been constructing and building, but to have a Vallejo store where you could go get Vallejo merch and Vallejo items and things like that, I feel like will build so much culture and camaraderie around it as well. You know, we just need things like that makes it feel like we're one. You know, it's hard to go somewhere and you see everyone. That's why we love like the Goodcompenny merch, because you'll see Goodcompenny hoodies all over and it feels like that. But just having things like that, we don't have.
Where can I go buy one?
Exactly.
I want one. You know?
Exactly.
I like to represent, especially when I'm other areas in the Bay Area, work at my jobs. Like I love to bring Vallejo with me.
Yep.
Oh my God! Well, I just happen to own a retail store that's sitting there doing nothing. So why don't we make it into a fucking retail store? I mean, it was a furniture store originally. I turned it into a used furniture store during COVID because I was just trying to sell my merchandise. I had 30,000 square feet building in Oakland full of furniture, and it was COVID. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all this? I lost 27 employees because I couldn't go to work. And I bought this building, and I thought, this is going to solidify my hope for Vallejo. That's what I want to do. I'm just going to punk it down. And I have. And the retail didn't work just because we got back busy. COVID went off. All of a sudden, we're off doing tours. We're off doing stuff. So I didn't have enough staff to keep it going. But since then, it's been about 4 years. I have met some great kids here. I've hired every one of my employees live in Vallejo, which knock on wood is the best.
I love it.
It's only 10, but hey, that's 10 that I'm like counting on that show up. Anyway, I mentioned in the beginning, I want to retire from the sweet treatments and just do. I like this idea because I always thought of like a paint store. I wanted to get an art store. There's no place to buy art supplies. Michael's is all we got. It'd be cool if we had, you know, my best friend who passed during COVID was a professional muralist spray painter, and he died on the freeway tagging during COVID because he felt like he wanted to go back to his roots, and everybody was home. Nobody was on the roads. That didn't work. Anyway, I wanted there to be like a safe place to paint and learn how to paint and get off the streets and paint, get paid to paint. You know, my job is like to show people that they can get paid for doing their art. They don't have to do other things or get lost. So
I think there's a few things that we could bring to Vallejo that would change the trajectory of the city in a matter of 3 years. If we get a multifunctional venue as well, a place that has a small, mid, and large venue, so artists coming up from here can throw shows at home and they have the ability to scale. Like, we're one of the few cities that don't have a live venue, and we're in the middle of all of the hot spots. Like, every artist tours San Francisco and Sacramento, and they got to drive right past us, and we miss out on all of that revenue. And our community loves music, and we don't have nowhere we can go, but we have all these infrastructures that's around that we just can't get into. So it's like, we need a live venue.
what about the Veterans Hall? Have you walked through there yet?
Yeah, I have, but it's like,
I need $5 million
we need a live venue that feels like we're special. You know, when we went to Iowa, we walked into this venue and it was like, wow. You know, like when I walk into Veterans Hall, I'm like, I don't want to throw a show here. You know, it's like, we deserve wows as well, you know, so people feel good about coming up here. And then that we have artists that make it from here, like we all now have networks where I have plenty of artists that I could bring to build the city. We just don't have nowhere to put them. You know, that feels good. And I think that that's going to be a huge piece.
What's your idea for the solution? Is there a spot?
You know that purple building on Admiral Callahan?
Really? All right. It's for
Well, you
sale,
know
isn't it?
The county of
It's just a big old furniture store, right?
County of Solano has a master plan for a 15 to 25,000 capacity amphitheater.
Oh, over by the ruins, the Napa ruins.
They've been sitting on this plan for years.
Either that or
Actually,
even.
it's been moving forward,
Has
right?
it really?
Yeah, they
because
tore down the
started with
ruins.
Housing. They have to start with building the housing. So that's been the last 2 years. You're right. There is going to be a little
Yeah.
theater there. That is time, but it is going to happen.
But even that's in American Canyon. And that doesn't have the same appeal and rapport as a Vallejo. You know, it's like
You like the location of the purple building.
that, or at least Kentwig, or the
I
old
love the Kentwig
or the
idea.
old Walmart build. The old Walmart building is big enough for us to build everything in there.
I think that's been sold, right? That's going to become condos. I think that's
Because that's
condos.
That's
Place
crazy.
next to retail?
Is that-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sold.
That's sold becoming
Wrapped up.
condos.
It's
Wow.
not
We need housing too, so I understand
Wow.
that, but that's gone. I love the Kentwig idea. I had thought of that too when I first moved here. I'm like, location is fucking killer. They got parking, they got a backyard, they got
That'd be a great
storage.
venue place.
But then somebody bought it and tried to turn it into a dispensary, and he passed away, so it's all the lanes are gone.
Oh.
They remodeled the inside. Now somebody's thinking senior center.
Or
They're
it's,
gonna make
I thought
it a
it's gonna be a
senior
mosque
center.
or something.
I don't
I
fucking know.
saw some.
We can find out. That's-
But all things like that is like that isn't necessarily service to the community. It's like all of our infrastructure is not being used to serve our community. And every time we do bring new business here, it's something that's going to kill the community. It's like In and Out is great, but we can't eat that shit for the rest of our life. It's going to kill us all.
We need good food.
Or a
We need
good
good food.
dispensary. It's like
Even
it's
having good
enough-
food, like we have a lot of people travel in for what we do, and they're like, where should I go eat? And it's hard, like, you know, we love Taj Grill, but for the most part, it's hard to send them somewhere that's not gonna kill them.
We do. We need a place with a kitchen. What was I just?
But that a recreation center.
What's going on with the one that GVRD opened?
It's not the same though, and it's too small. We need something like the sports center. You know, they tore our sports center down, closed it down, and that used to be a place that we used to all go convene in there, and it had soccer and basketball and volleyball, and it's like taking that from a community is like
And not giving them anything else in return.
nothing.
Ridiculous.
Nothing. So it's like just things like that for our athletes coming out of here. Like we need to cultivate more stars coming from this area, but it's hard to do so without the resource if they don't have nothing to cultivate that talent.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Seaweeds baseball team. I don't know if you heard about that.
That's fun.
Mm.
It's fun.
But they're like, I think it's like amateur league. I don't know exactly what it is.
Minor.
But
It's
they
minor league, but it's
Like the
fun.
I'm
Admirals?
not a baseball
Yes.
person,
Yeah,
so I
they're
don't
now
know how it works.
seaweeds.
And so they
Ah.
were Santa Cruz Seaweeds. They changed it to Solano County Seaweeds.
Yeah, but they played here and there. I heard that like their field was subpar, and like apparently one team came out and they wouldn't even play because there were like holes in the
Yeah, I
field.
was there.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
you have like
We have,
the minor
we're
is
trying.
So
thing
I
here,
feel
there's
like
definitely opportunity.
solution wise, if we could start getting events rolling, that like the festival we're planning next year, where I get to bring all these big artist friends that I have, will really build the capital for us to build all of these things. Because I'm always like, I've always known in my head the city is there, but I've always felt like it was inaccessible to me, which is why I feed people through Momos out of my pocket and Sunshine Smoothies out of, because I just feel like they're not going to help. So I look at it like, if we just throw the events and build the capital so we can do it, and then, you know, go get them behind, is even easier because we don't have to go through.
I think your fairgrounds is the best idea here because, especially if we can work with them, I would, I have their ear as well. I would love to talk to them on your behalf and straighten out any of this shit because I feel that if you continually do there for 2 years or so and have several events,
It'll change
you will be able to
everything.
do anything. Yes,
Mhm.
and they have the structure. You've got the parking, you've got the buildings, you can grow. You could start with your 2,500. We could go to 10,000, take over the whole fucking place.
Easy.
No problem.
And that's what we've been
No
explaining. And, like they told me the other day, like when we started, they were
And
like,
need
it'll be
you.
like 25,000.
So don't fucking
I
forget
just
that.
told them.
They need you.
I
And they
said
know
it's in
that.
y'all benefit, not mine,
no,
So
it
it's like
is.
y'all should be figuring
We all
out everything to make this easy, because just in the next 3 years, what we could do, just being able to throw festivals and bring shows there. The only reason we don't have, like, Vallejo makes no money off live entertainment. San Francisco makes billions off just live entertainment, and we could do the same because we have the ability and infrastructure. They're just not allowing us to bring it in. And I'm ready to bring that forth. I feel like just on that side, I could change so much of the city's direction if I have a space to do so.
So I just have to share that when I saw the Veterans Building the first time, I went and did a little walkthrough, and I kind of fell in love because I started my career at the Fillmore in the Warfield, and it had that kind of big vibe. When you go upstairs to the top floor, it is a big auditorium. I don't know if you walked through the whole thing, but they have an auditorium on the top floor. The middle floor is like 4 giant rooms that I thought media center, teach them how to do media.
You know, I'm thinking of a different hall. You're talking about the blue one by the post office.
No.
Which one's the Veterans Hall?
It's on Marin and I think it's Kentucky. It's by that big park. So there's a huge park right across the street. And it's like Berkeley vibes because, you know, UC Berkeley, not UC Berkeley, but Berkeley High has a little theater that we all started, and across the street having the park is so killer. Anyway, it's only on sale for $1 million, but it's gonna take 4 to really get the elevators, bring it all up to date. The bottom level could be a skating rink. You know, so it's got a basement that's huge and open. You got your middle floor has 4 giant rooms that could be individual centers. You know, maybe it's socially learning how to no phones in here. You know, digital's a free zone. Maybe there's a media zone. Maybe sports, whatever. But there's it's so if you've been to UC Theater in Berkeley, it was a broken down movie theater for decades. It just sat there dead, just like this building. And friends of mine went in there. They got a $4 million grant. They rebuilt it all, and now it's run by high school students. So it's a training place for the youth to know how to throw concerts. And it's been very successful. And I've called them up and say, I got a building here, I want to do that too. And they said, just tell me when. So then I got busy, So as I was telling you, we all have great ideas. However, when you want to execute one, you got to focus on that one. You got to make that the thing, right? And that building is one of those things where I would need a team. I can't do that by myself. That has to, I mean, I've dreamt about it. I brought Sean Gutierrez there from Artisan. I hope you know who he is. He knows E40's dad pretty good. They're buddies. And he went there and he's like, I want to do this with you. So he wants to partner and do it. Because we see it as a home for you guys. We see it as we could build this for your home team. When you're here, this is where you play. And it's beautiful. Now it's an empty shell right now. It takes a little bit of imagination, but I can see it. I think it's got the bones. If it was youth oriented and not late night concerts, the neighborhood would accept it. You know, it's more for the place for the kids to go somewhere after school, learn how to do different things, hang out with each other. Granted, it's all indoors, so it doesn't have some of the parts. But anyway, I do see there's a lot of opportunities here, and I would like to help. I think what we have right now, today, is a building on Sonoma Boulevard that could be a great place for a retail store. Well, we could start that thing, you know. I have a coffee machine. We could sell this guy's coffee, have espresso, outdoors place to hang out. Have you been in the building yet? I don't think I've seen you over there, but I'd love to share it with you.
Yeah. I went there for one of the mixers, the chamber mixers, and it's nice. It's like super open. You can definitely,
especially the back area.
And you've got all the stuff where we could partition it however we wanted.
You do whatever you want.
Right? And like,
You been over there? Just jump on the ball.
You did?
How can you not?
Yes,
yeah,
there
the
is an
outside
adult
space is
ball
nice.
pit, but we could do a lot more. We have so many tricks and things. So I just got a new warehouse on Mare Island. I just rented 10,000 square feet so I could have a place to put stuff because I'm trying to move out of Oakland 100%, have everything here. And then whatever's left there, I'm going to sell and just get rid of that. But that building is huge. It's 30,000 square feet in Oakland. It's big. It's by the Oakland Arena, which makes sense for us to be able to get everywhere we need to go. But now that we're kind of focusing here, I just need that building to have a purpose. I've been telling everybody, like, it's been our office and a place to meet. I've been donating it to, there's a repass on Tuesday. You know, some lady walked in, said her daughter just died. I mean, I started to cry with her, and I just said, take the building. Like, I've never charged those people anything because if they feel they want to have it in here, I'm blessed. That's a wonderful thing. But I would love to open up. There's plenty of places to have a little retail store. I could do my paint store, you know, start selling spray paint. Because you can't find spray paint in town, and not good colors if you want to really make a good mural. You got to go to Napa, and they just closed that store. So you got to go to Oakland.
You can't get any fine arts supplies. My sister's a
I
fine artist.
mean, no, you could go to Home Depot and stuff, but you're not going to get any good quality. You're not going to get the tips. You're not going to get the color tones. So, yeah, I would love to have that as part of it, and also find some artists that want to do classes and teach kids how to do stuff. Then eventually we'll get to our sea container village, you know, and really grow out. But next steps are, if it's okay with you, I'd love to talk to somebody at the fairgrounds sooner than later.
Yeah.
They need to see the vision, the big term thing, and they need somebody to say, oh, because not many people know my last name, and I don't know if this is really for the record, but Varsody is a big name in the music industry, and this family has done so many things from Jimi Hendrix all the way to today, and working here in the Bay Area with Bill Graham. And the only person in this town that knows that is one guy at the fairgrounds. So when we met, he was like, does anybody know where you're coming from? And I'm like, no. And he goes, well, that's interesting. I said, well, because I don't really need it. I just want to be here and help Vallejo. I want to take everything that we've ever learned, and I want to push it into this town. Before I die, that's my wish. And so I think if I bend his ear a little bit and tell him about our long-term goals, and that we need to make these prices realistic, because what we're going to do is off the charts. And I know, because I know some of his friends who are on the board, again, not for the record, but on the board of the Solano County Fairgrounds, they're dying over there.
Mm-hmm.
Dying.
We know.
So
We know.
let's take this opportunity, and especially, and I do have a picture, because the guy from 707 Drones took pictures of your show. Have you seen the one he did where, so it's above the stage and it's oval? He printed it out for me. I have a big poster in my room.
I got one in my
Did you
house
get one
on the
too?
wall.
That's so cool.
I didn't see the drone one.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so cool, because you see Sacramento, Georgia, green light, Russell, 2,500 people, the car show, and now the whole city knows that it's a peaceful, loving experience. And please do not be mad at people for not reacting appropriately to the word hip hop. There was that huge event that Travis Scott did during COVID where lots of people were killed, and that changed our entire history. That changed, our industry. All the way, there's still people today suing in Texas because of the trauma they went through, and it has nothing to do with you personally. It is insurance. It's the rat race of our industry, the fucked up part. So when I say, hey, I want to have a certain show, they make me check all these boxes, and if I check hip hop, I'm not included. I can't have a show.
Which is insane, because there's genres where they fight in the crowd. Like Purpose. They fight each other in the crowd.
And they're not easy to insure either. People are very, very afraid of having public assemblage. But we come from a background of healthy public assemblage. That's what it's really all about. Getting everybody together in the masses and being able to pull it off. When I met David, we were doing, I think I met you before, but Maker Fair, they were going to bring 10,000 people to Mare Island, and it was like, ooh, let's figure out how we do this, right? Where are we parking them? How are we getting them in? But Porsche squeezed in a little event a month before that, or 6 months before that, and nobody even noticed. And they had 12,000 people on the island. So I was like, it's a military base, right? Like, clearly they had thousands of people on that place already. It's not going to be impossible. It's just making everybody okay with it.
Feel comfortable.
There's parking everywhere. You know what? Another great spot we've been looking at, I'm sure Kevin told you this from Dock of Bay, is the golf course on Mare Island. That would be a killer outside show.
The golf course is wild.
Yes, we should tour that someday and see what that means. Maybe that's stage 4. Who knows? But thank you for letting me have a little speak there. I think the coffee hit me.
Of course.
Yeah. Let me know what I can do to help you.
Yeah, I think.
Right.
I think this immediate term, the more concerts and fests that we could bring within the next 2-3 years, and just for next year we have our Itty Bitty City Fest, and then I'm partnering with Dock of the Bay to do their fest next year to bring
save them if
youth.
You do that,
right? So it's like that starts with 2 next year, but in between that, I want to bring smaller shows like I do my backyard, so I could bring other artists just to start building that live side and showing that we could do this safely. Because within 3 years, I just feel like we could have one of the biggest fests in the world, similar to a Battle Rock, but just better culturally. And for us, that represents our city. It's like we just have Six Flags, and we just have Six Flags. It has to be beyond that. For us to be in prime location between SAC and San Francisco and Oakland, we should have more to where people want to stop here. People fly in all over the world just to see my shows. So imagine if we start bringing more entertainment here. So for me, that's really the goal now. And I think that'll give us the revenue and capital to build all of the sustainable stuff that starts to really benefit the city. But we just need an open door on that end first. Like, to be from Vallejo, I should never have to fight to throw a show here.
Right.
As someone who's made it from the city, it's like I'm the one person I just feel like it should be like, go.
Yeah. Here's the key. Where do you wanna go?
What do you want to do?
We go to all these
We
other
know it's
cities,
for the
and
benefit
it's
of
so
man.
easy. It's so easy to throw shows in all these other cities. Like, we brought out 800 in DC in a day, and then we have to fight over a month to use.
Alameda, thousands.
Well, Prince never organized shows months in advance. He would say, "I'm going to play Oakland on Friday."
Let's
And
go.
Oakland would move,
Right.
and we'd make it happen. So yeah, it's because we're really backwards here, and it's so funny. I took the leadership course. I tried to meet all the people that run the city. I tried to get involved because I'm like, I just want to focus all my energy on this place. And you summed it up in 2 seconds. All we have is Six Flags. That's what I basically learned from the leadership, is because they're like this, and then you get to meet the guy that brought Six Flags to Vallejo, comes in on his cane, and he's like, yep, I brought this here, and this saved this town, and it's like, this place, by the way, is going to leave if we don't make Vallejo better. It's not safe to come here sometimes and go to that place. We have a lot of work to do. So,
And that all starts, like I say, these treats build morale and build energy around people to where they feel better about where they from and the things that they get to do. And it's like, oh yeah, now we get stuff, and and we could go play at the rec center. Man, we had the meeting with a few of the council members the other day, and I was telling them we went to DC, and just the simplest thing, we were crossing the street and the timer said 90 seconds, and I was like, wow, they care. I ride my bike around Vallejo and they give me 10 seconds to cross the street, and I'm on a bike. And imagine if you're older and you got to walk. And it's just like things like that show so much care for the people in the city. And when we just start making those smaller changes and giving our people something to do, like as a kid growing up here, we went to Jesse Bethel High School the other day. And when they leave school, they have nothing to do. Literally nothing. There's nothing you can do out here. So of course you're gonna get in trouble and you're gonna do some extra shit because there's nothing else to do.
No, we need to change that. We need a safe place for kids to learn. I'm a big proponent. I believe in the creative genre of brains. We're the ones that tend to turn towards drugs and alcohol and things that if you don't have nothing else to do.
Definitely.
And I know I wasted my youth that way, and that's why I really want to help. But while they're there, I'm like, you know what? My business is surrounded by homeless people, and I try to help those guys too. But my focus is on the 12-year-old, the one that's going to make that life decision real soon. And I want to get them. So,
Yeah, workshop. We had a kid come up and he was showing me designs on his phone that he made of clothing. And in my head, I was just like, man, it would be dope if there was a place where he could bring that to life.
Yeah.
And that's going to change the trajectory of his path. Like, to know he could make something on his phone and then it's in the world would change everything, So just having this infrastructure is going to change it all.
Yeah. And by the time I got to that point where I realized that here, being between 2 dispensaries, I'm not allowed to have youth programs. You have to be like 1,000 feet from a dispensary.
Bruh.
And so I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
They closed down a grocery store to sell weed.
What about Rayleigh's building might be a
They
good
closed
one
down
for
the grocery
youth
store to
center.
sell weed.
I think that's bought too.
Oh, is it?
Because they were wanting to put the police station there, and they're like, oh, no, it's already been bought.
Damn.
For another dispensary. I'm just
Wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I think if we start with just entertainment and these events, like I said, if we do the Kite Fest, let's give us a field day or something too. Like allow us to organize and put something together as well, so we can just have both. And I think as we build this morale, it's going to take at least a year or two just rebuilding the morale and how people feel about each other in the city. Like when we were all downtown, it was so many smiles and love and hugs, and you never see that. Like you could go walk the waterfront and that energy doesn't exist on the regular. But it's like after you cultivate that for a year and people see each other and got to intermingle, it starts to create a different environment. But we just need an open door to go. Let us run. What's up?
What? Men.
Wow. So how,
Teenage men.
how do we incorporate these youth in your event? Like this, even this idea of Mare Island sooner than later, because you were mentioning Thanksgiving time or something. Is that a daytime?
What's
nighttime?
been dope too, like with my shows that I've been doing, we've been having kids from the school come help out set up in the beginning. They've been learning how to set up, how to work and scan tickets at the door. So I think there's plenty of ways to integrate them. You just integrate them with the process. You don't make them feel like kids and like, hey, come do this. It's like, no, this is what we're doing. One day this may be a role for you, and you just integrate them into the flow and process so they can get real life experience, you know? They don't have to be in the kiddie corner. It's like, this is what we do. Get behind this camera. Do, you know, like really put them in the process.
You
Like
know,
a UC theater.
And they understand that like the opportunity is there and you can't make money being a creative, and there is a path that fits them, and like to your point, it feeds their soul. Like it's something that they actually give a shit about.
Right.
So they'll show up all the time. Like it's like go fuck off, or I can actually go into like some studio and I can learn how to mix.
They don't know how many roles is in like one job. Like I said, they've been coming to set up and realizing like, oh, there's someone who does this for T-Pain.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a job and a career path that you don't really know exists when you're growing up. You don't think that's a thing. And it's like, yes, he makes 6 figures plus a year to just go set up production equipment, you know? So integrating them and just showing them how much more it is, because everyone wants to be a rapper, but it's like, that's an unrealistic approach. But every rapper needs 100 people, you know, for Prince to do an Oakland show, there's a bunch of people who got to show up who all have a job. So I think just integrating them into the process when we do things and build it, allowing a few to come out and just participate and see.
you know, I think we've all talked about, you know, Vallejo offers that event experience where when the Makers Fair, we hired 15, 16, and 17-year-olds. And so in my brain, I love to see the city have 52 weekends events on both sides. But everybody's like, how are we going to pull that off? Saturate the community with event planners and with the kids. Teach them how, like you were talking about, how to teach them how to create an event, come work the events. And at 15, 16, they're coming and doing your shows, T-Pain, then working with the Makers Fair, the Porsche show.
I think that's an easy, obtainable, like 52 is easy. Half of that is just concerts. Every other weekend is a very easy, that's an easily doable one. So you really only got to focus on 26.
Yeah, I mean, and like we talked about how it stimulates this economy, especially if you're doing fairgrounds, you're doing Mare Island, you're doing the downtown waterfront, and you're doing it, and then other artists are now like, hey, I want to play there now, and then you basically open the pathway to where it flows now. It's not this. I mean, how many other artists go through Vallejo trying to play here and are having complications? Dude, that stuff you said about the Empress Theater, him and I tried to do a show there, and we're like, F this, I'm not investing my money with
There's
these
only
people.
300 seats. They're not worth it. It's
Right.
not worth it.
That's exactly how I am about
Not
it.
worth
That's how she is, but I'm like, no, because it's ours. And I'm from here, and it belongs to us. And I've done several sold out shows there, and it's ours. It belongs to us. I'm from the city, so it's like, no, it is worth it, because they shouldn't be able to do that to the people who come from this city and grow up here, because it's still a place of communion. You know, my whole life here, I never been to that theater. I threw my show there, and there was a bunch of people who first time was in that theater, and it was to see a LaRussell from the city. That's important. And it's like they just holding that infrastructure. So it's like, no, we need them out of there.
That thing should be popping 4, 5, 6 days a week.
It really should.
Events.
Even movies.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I'm like,
premieres and everything.
Remember the old lights they had at the dealerships?
I mean, we
Bro,
can
they
take over
spent-
the building.
They spent
City
so
Hall.
much money doing the light. Yeah,
It's run
but
by it's run
yeah.
by
But you
art
just gotta,
Napa.
but
Yeah.
it's Vallejo,
Nice from
you just
Napa.
gotta start
The
finding the right
ladies
people.
nuts.
And the guy with the keys.
nuts.
I had a, yeah.
She's nuts.
We're on the same
Darren?
page, but I
Yeah.
really
Darren.
like what he just said.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even like there's a lot of filmmakers and people in the city, and if they had a place
Yeah.
where they knew they could premiere their short
Yes,
films,
exactly.
and it
When
doesn't
I was
even
a
have
kid,
to
they
be
used
shows.
to. There was
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
shows in there, concerts. I would drive out to Vallejo to see.
I mean, the creative
Right.
class is chronically underemployed. We have a shit ton of them here. We have the ability to support them, and like long-term vision, like we were talking about, having a place where, and I know Jeremy we talked about this before. It's like having places where folks can just show up and shoot, right? Show up and play, just like come do it, and then if we pair that with like educating the youth and helping them have paths into the creative industry, whatever their passion is, then we create, you know, passively and actively create that infrastructure and that culture, and we show people like this is what we are. Like,
Man, in the next 10 years, our output of stars will like 10x. You know, the fact that myself and the E40 and the her and you know CC could make it out of here with no resource. Like all of us made it and we didn't have nothing. There was no infrastructure or nothing. So imagine what could happen if there's something. You know, we had to literally just make it out of thin air. Imagine. And I think live entertainment is the first. Like we're not making no live entertainment money for this city, and that's $1 billion industry.
Leave money on the table.
That Empress, I mean, what it would be good to use for is open mic night. That's like open mic night brings people all over the Bay. I mean, I've done open mics for standing. I'm over, but that's where that one would do is like you were saying, fostering talent is people that are just even considering and thinking, trying to do something entertaining, and they get to go and do it in this big theater and get this whole elaborate experience and then go away like, I can't believe I did that. I'm hooked now. And that's where you don't, like you were saying, there's really, is there anything to start to at least plant the seed in Vallejo?
My goal is to build a premier venue of each size in Vallejo. Like how we know certain venues names, and it's like people dream of doing those venues. We could do it here, and that's what we fostering and creating.
Gotta get an Empress.
Yeah.
Well, that's the person that would,
and I have me and Darren have been talking a lot, and he's like an open door to us now. The only thing is like we still have to deal with Renee, but he loves me and what we're building, so he's like whatever day you want on the calendar you could have and do your thing. But it's like we still have to deal with Renee above him, and that's the part that we hate dealing with and having to do. I don't want to go in there every single time and have to deal with someone telling me what I could do after I've had so many successful events, you know. But
Renee
it's a
works for us,
Tell her that.
Renee works for herself.
I know, last Saturday they had her husband, I guess, is into symphonies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he had one last Saturday, and it's like that. Now me and him, and we hear all this stuff, of who's involved with what and this and that, and it's just big problem is the hometowners aren't running it. That's the biggest issue.
That is the biggest issue with everything going on in Vallejo.
He's in Sacramento. He just can't show up and open the door to anybody, and that's kind of what needs to be. Is someone needs to be in here with the key. What? Someone wants to come through, or say someone hits you up, be like, hey man, I need a little small venue. I saw you on that theater. Where's that at? And then you call up the Empress, and then they're like that day show up. Okay. Yeah,
man, we were doing that when Kevin was there. Me and him started doing that, and that's when Renee came in and was like, no, you know. And that's the thing. It's like you need those kind of people out just so you could usher in the new. And man, we could. Like I said, it only takes 3 years. It only takes 3 years. It'll be a completely different city. And it's coming. It's coming. That's why I'm so grateful for that downtown show that happened, because that opened the door so much. You know,
3 months of pestering them. We got there.
Right?
And I worked hard on that one.
And it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There was a lot of people from here, like 50, 60-year-olds coming up to me, and they're like, my whole life in Vallejo, I've never experienced this. For you to spend that long in a city and never get to experience that is a shame. We should be able to experience that quarterly.
All the time.
At least.
Absolutely.
That
You
should be.
will now. You will.
Yeah.
You made it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had the picture, and then I got to experience the picture in real life. It was fucking awesome.
Did we talk about Mare Island yet? Remember you wanted to do at the end of the year show or something on Mare Island?
Yeah, that building.
Wendy the Welder building that's down the street from Saks,
It's the one they did a Nightmare Island in. Right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
big.
The big
and I
one.
think they use it now for the meat festival.
Yeah, that's
what
yeah,
they're saying.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
it's huge. I imagine it. And how come she said only 800 people fit in there?
Probably
It's gotta be
come.
She said only for that fest because of all the supplies and the
Yeah.
heat and the things they
Oh,
had
for
to
the
use,
food,
but
for
she
the
said
food.
for
For you,
another
you
event,
could-
yeah, we could
No,
fill
she
it
said
out.
we could definitely fit more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And is this a daytime thing or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
All
always
of
do
our
daytime
shows are
events.
daytime.
Okay, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. That's the best.
Right?
The Main Street show was like a late show.
Yeah, that was like
For us, yeah.
It was. Well, yeah, you saved it real late.
I love that. Do you have dates ideas?
I'll jot some dates down because now it's like more things coming with the parade and stuff. And like I said, us
Oh
doing
yeah, that's in
December
December.
7th.
Yeah.
Parade. So that's going to be.
my goal is something quarterly. And like I say, since next year we have our fest and then we have Dock of the Bay together, if we could just have something starting off at least quarterly that we know we're going to bring people together, we're going to do something really dope for the city, and then from quarterly you could start going to, okay, let's do every other month, and then you could start doing it every month and just build that up. And I think we could do that within a year. But if we just start off quarterly with having something really, really fun and great for the city to experience together, I think we win.
I think that's a realistic goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe it's in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First quarter of next year, because
Yeah.
then Itty Bitty City Fest is the second quarter, Dock of the Bay is third quarter, and then we just need a fourth quarter situation.
Which is usually your birthday show.
Yeah.
Yeah, October, November, December. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
So I want to talk to my boss at the city right after this because our next event is going to be in February, and there's money to throw a light festival. She was just trying to come up with something that people want to do. Like, you know, Napa has one where they go and look at all the lights and the projection. And I wonder if we could combine this to a weekend event. I don't know, because, you know, it gets dark late. I mean, early. So this could be a
Yes.
5:30.
Yeah.
And if we could
Five.
even combine that with
At the end, there's a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah.
If it's still the light thing, but then at the end.
And it could be on Mare Island. It could be downtown again during the winter. Maybe we can even get Main Street to help out. But
Yeah.
but with that, I'm just bringing the money so that we could bring some money so you could have maybe a bigger
and
thing, bigger
yeah,
stage.
exactly, because the downtown show was like we did that really with no money for performance, you know. So it's like if we could have
a $30 performance budget for five events.
right, that's crazy.
I know. It was our platform and our tiny tents. I know. It was tiny.
Yeah. We made it happen.
But
Yeah.
that's what they had, and it's because they did 5, you know,
Yeah.
5 events. But so when I got this job with the city, one of the things they wanted to know is where are people coming from? How many people are coming to the events? How long do they stay there? And I just made it up and said, I'll figure it out. I didn't know how I was going to figure it out, but I said, I will find a way. And then something came my way. It's called an app. It's a Placer app. I pay really good money for this app, but it tells me everything. And so what we can do is show, and I've already made the report of all 5 of your events, and see how 300 people came, 500 people came, 400 people came. Oh, 2,600 people came. You know, and where they're all coming from, where they spend their money. It's not named. There's no names attached. It doesn't attach anybody under 18. It's only adults. And it's basically off our phones. It's tracking the phones and where we're coming from. So I guess I'm sharing this because everything you do, we can prove what you're doing. We can show them without you even having to sell tickets. This could be free. You know what I mean? Because like Dock of Bay, I said, okay, you got about 1,800 people. He goes, I know, because I sold the tickets. I'm like, okay, you know, fair enough. But I can tell you where they came from, what routes they took to get here, where they live, what city they live.
That would be dope for the fairground show too.
Yes.
For every show we do,
Yes,
you know, we have people come from
absolutely.
different states.
I know, and we'll be able to
Placer's
show you
super
that.
expensive, so if you already have it and you can pull the reports, that's like
I had to
so
buy it
nice.
for the city because it was an investment. They don't pay me. I don't get paid really because all the money I give back out. But it is 36 grand a year, so it's a fucking amount. But I'm doing it because I'm doing it for Vallejo. I'm also showing them, like for instance, you say you're going to be at the what do you call it, parade? Oh shit! we'll be able to show for the last 7 years what that parade's done.
And the difference
And the
in
difference
having
when
a
you
La
show up.
Russell.
So we
It's
can
La
go
Russell
back.
experience.
We can
That's
go
the,
back to
La
2017
Russell experience.
for any of these reports, and it could be anywhere in the country. So I've focused on Vallejo, but I can compare it to other cities, so I can also show the city look. Obviously, I'm trying to improve us. I'm trying to bring us up to 2024. That's the whole point. This place is like 1985. You know, it's like everywhere they think, everywhere they don't want to change. It's like you're just holding yourself back in the past. We need to get you like San Francisco,
Yes.
the sea container city, the activities outside, turning, like what they did during COVID is they took parking lots and just dedicated them to parks. Grass the whole thing, put down a weight center, let kids lift weights, let them learn how to do this, learn how to do that, put art out there. That's the city, not here. We don't do that. So we're trying to show them how,
Right.
how we can just turn a parking lot into like some old property you got. I asked them for a list. Show me all the property you guys own in this city and what we can do with it. You know, I'm waiting on that list. Then I'm going to push a little bit farther.
Right.
Because if you own it and you can give it to me for $1,
Yeah.
let me make it into something.
And just like, it don't even have to be like hyper expensive things. Like, spare the moments thing. Like, if we was to go to downtown, any grass field, and set up an inflatable obstacle course, and I announce and say, "Come down, we got an obstacle course. I'm racing everybody." That's going to change so much morale, and you're going to see so many kids. As simple as that. It's like all we got to do is just start with the easy ones, and it'll keep climbing.
Yes.
It'll
That's
keep
what I was
climbing.
thinking, like micro events that don't take a lot of infrastructure.
Exactly.
Where you just like you've done, like we hit up Tori and we're like, we're gonna do spoken word in the plant shop on second Fridays because there's already art downtown or whatever. Bam, like you announce it, like you said, to make a little buzz around it. Doing the kid thing, like finding stuff like that. You know, doing something at Dalwick or whatever. Like whatever happens to be, you know, whatever feels genuine. But it's also like all you need is like 3 people, some balloons, a few tables, or something that like can fit in the back of the car and just go. You know, like not have to deal with a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And permits and whatever.
Fun things.
Yes.
An inflatable obstacle course would go crazy. It'd be over. It'd have so many people outside smiling and laughing, and I feel like that's an easy, simple one to just start showing that the city cares and wants the people to have fun and experience a good time while they in the V. And eventually, I would love to do something in tandem with Six Flags, where we get to buy out the park and let us have a concert there, and then let people come experience. And Great America's a whole different city.
Right? Yeah.
No, they will. They would. They're not doing well either. They need to do stuff to to stay here. You know.
There is a lot.
They're allowing a disc course. I guess disc golf. They're going to do disc golf in there.
Yeah, so I think that would be incredible. That would be incredible, and people would be excited.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're going to try a new Halloween approach this year too. So they're going out of their way to. I don't even know where they're getting all that stuff, but they are making it more like, it looks more like what we had on Mirror Island, the Nightmare Island, happening at Six Flags.
I used to love Fright Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, they're
birthday's
trying
in
to
the end of
expand
October,
the Fright
so
Fest.
I
My
used to do it
sisters
every
too.
year for my birthday. It was the best.
We talked too about, I was a joke when I said about that
No,
La Russell
actually,
economy. There's a
no.
lot of things failing in this
It was
city,
fun.
like the art walk, that if you decided like, hey, you know what, I want to kind of get my hands into everything and help boost up everybody, we could tell you about the art walk. He's part of the committee, but that's something that needs help too, right?
Oh, they don't do it right.
Yeah.
Don't
They
even
just don't do
I-
it right.
I've
It's so
tried.
frustrating.
And that's been the thing I've noticed within a lot of things the city do. There is no one in there like really advising and saying no. That is not it. You know, like we need someone who understands the people in the community, and it just has to be real. And I think once we get that, it'll change everything. We just need our leaders out, and we haven't, like I say, they haven't had the desire to come back because it just feels like the city doesn't care and give them a hard time. Like her wanted to bring her festival here, but it's such a hard time working with the city, and Concord's like, please.
Right?
And Vallejo's like, well, can you do this? It's like.
Concord has I mean, I know the Live Nation people because I just asked them the other day what happened, because when she did it in Concord, she bought out the whole place, sold her own tickets. They hired us. We did a huge backstage area for her to do her videos in. It looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was really good. Then they were going to do Shoreline, and Live Nation got greedy, tried to move her to Shoreline, and it didn't do well, and it was going to cost a ton of money to do. Something happened at the last minute; she had to cancel, and she
Yeah.
lost her little Concord thing. And it's like, why not stay here or come here? So we've been. They said they need 17 acres to get her here to build up a big enough place, and we were trying to work on the golf course because that seems to be the only spot that's large enough for her. But I don't know where all those conversations go. I just wanted to ask what happened to the Concord, because that was great. Local, she grew up going to music there, so it made more sense, right? But Shoreline's just too far. It's not great.
See, and that's the thing, is like scaling at home. It's like just having a few here, even if it's at a smaller capacity, to build that, because it'll bring in so much revenue to where we could build the bigger infrastructure to do it, but bringing it home and just making sure that's an easy process for everyone to come home and do their thing. Like all of our heroes from here should be able to have a green pass to just go.
Well, I would love to talk to my boss at the city and see if she can meet with you directly. I think I'll warm her up to all this. I'm going to show her that this is really the direction. The kites were, I mean, Berkeley was kind of known for being the kite area because it was free. They have a space. You could go all the time. It's hella windy. You're right on the water. And we're very similar to that. I get it. And Berkeley stopped doing it. When I personally gave out 100 kites to kids, it was one of the most exciting moments. I mean, it was like Christmas for me, right? I couldn't wait to get there to give away these kites. And I think that's something to grow on. We want to give away 1,000 kites next year. But if we partner with you on the kites, a lot more people are going to show up and get these free kites. So anyway, I just want to show her that we need to partner with the people who are making things happen.
What is the role, like what is her title within the city?
They did not have an event planner position before. They were giving money to Frank, who does the Mad Hatter, and he was sort of like unknown, but he was not unknown. He is very well known. He is the event planner, but not by contract. So somebody else asked if we could have one, so she created an RFP from San Francisco. She made this really high-end RFP that nobody in this town could compete with because you'd have to show that you can have insurance, you can jump through all the hoops. And I was kind of lucky. I got the email on a Saturday. I wrote for 30 days, wrote the proposal, and I got the job. But now I've got her ear, and so this is all new. She's never done this before either because we never had one. So she's like, well, I guess we can do this. And I just kind of listened and did what I said. I didn't realize, like, I have more of a voice now than I realized. So I'm going to go back to her and say, after doing this for 8 months now, officially, this is where I'm seeing, it's marketing is tough. Yes, thank
That's
you
what
for
it is.
everything you're helping with getting it on out there. You're really, really helping me a lot. But I feel like one event with this guy is going to change everything.
It already did it.
We already did that.
And that's the marketing. I was just telling them that, like, Vallejo, all of our people who are involved in the city and putting these things together is kind of faceless. We don't know no one. I don't know anyone running for council or what our mayor looks like. It's like we don't see you guys enough for people to show up in that capacity. You feel me? So me is like, we don't have a team. I am Vallejo's team. So everyone is like, of course I'll show up for that. It's a game. It's a home game.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am down to warm her up for you, to get a meeting going and talk about how we can move some of this money they're planning on spending on events in a better direction.
I love it.
Absolutely. City event planner. Shelley Loffmiller is the city community coordinator. And so she's working with Victoria Grace, who's also a new position for youth coordinator.
Are any of these people from Vallejo?
Victoria Grace is the youth coordinator because she was a teacher at one of the schools and she grew up here. Shelley was military before, so she moved here as a retirement, and wanted to live her life here and took on this job out of retirement she wanted to see something change here. I really actually like this lady. I believe in her, and I think now that we've developed a real friendship, I can help.
And she helped me get Play on Main Street to say yes to you.
And
Right.
she texted me yesterday, hey, I saw LARUSSEL'S ad about the fairgrounds. That's awesome. We still anytime have a meeting with her.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I love
for
it.
sure. No, she's only doing this out of retirement because she wants to help. She sees this town as like I do. It's a little backwards. It's a little old. Okay, okay, I know you're just having a good day, aren't you?
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
This is a cat house. It's a cat house.
Oh, he wants it.
Yeah,
Oh, he's living
somebody's
it.
playing with the cat over there.
I got another meeting after this, so I'm gonna run. But this was great, a good start. I'm excited to build. I'm
Yeah,
excited
have your
to build.
number.
Yes,
So that I
please.
can, I'll send you my notes